Hello everyone, welcome to the Watch Tailor, a channel where we take watches, give them a little fettle and make them better looking in my opinion. You might disagree, but that's the whole positive of this thing. We all have different tastes, different opinions, but this is just my personal preference on what I think is better. So we're actually going to be doing two watches today because there's not much that needs doing to both of them, but I just thought it'd make it a little bit interesting doing two instead of one. So if you've seen the first videos, you'll know what I'm going to be doing to this one straight away, and that is getting rid of this abomination. Now, I don't mind date windows when they're done properly, and I'm sorry Seiko, this is not proper. This is basically an afterthought, so we're going to be getting rid of it. So what I'm going to do now is just carefully paint it out, and hopefully the software will do its magic and get rid of it. Yeah, you can see it's sort of fluffed up that bit there. We don't need indices there, obviously, because they're not part of the thing. So it's done a pretty decent job. Now we're just going to get a bit of dial and we're going to clone it over, just to make it look a little bit sort of like it's supposed to be there. Right, so that's better. It's not perfect, but it's gone, and that's like one of the big issues gone. So now what we're going to do is fix the second hand. I didn't need to do that actually. I needed to create a new pixel layer. So what we're going to do now is we're basically going to be taking this and changing the colour, because I don't think it works all that well, because there's no other gold accents on the watch. If there was more gold on the watch, I'd be like, you know what, it's fine, it looks alright. But because it's the only bit, I just think it looks a little bit odd, in my opinion. I mean, you guys might like it, I just think it throws the design off a little bit. So that's why we're going to be fixing it. And basically, I'm just going to paint it white, because I think that is, the best option. Because that way, it's still going to be legible, and it's going to be thingy as well. So that looks like a absolute mess. So we'll just go in with a finer brush and fix all these jagged edges, because that just looks absolutely awful. Now we can also erase it, just to make it a little bit less jagged. But once you zoom out, you'll not really see it. So now if we do that, you can see that is a lot better. Obviously it's not neat, but it looks better than the gold in my opinion. Yeah, it's a little bit too thick. So what I'm going to do is just get the eraser, and we're just going to thin it out a little bit. So if I just zoom right in, you can see, yeah, it's a little bit too thick. So we'll just grab our eraser tool and we'll just carefully thin the hand out, because it's just a little bit too thick. So there we go. We'll just thin it out a little bit. There we go. And that is much better now. So now it looks a little bit more like the original. And that's pretty much all I wanted to do to this one. I think that looks so much better. To appease the date enthusiasts, we'll add a date in. So if we just do a 24, and we'll actually put it down at the 6 o'clock, because I think that's the best position for this. I mean, at 3 o'clock it might not look too bad. We could always try it at the 3. That's a little bit big, so if we just drop it down a little bit and get it into position. So that's what a date disc will look like at the 3 o'clock. And I mean, that is better than what Seiko have done. And I'm sorry to Seiko fans, but yeah, it's just not good. Now what we're going to have to do is just give it a little bit of a blur, just to make it look a little bit more like it's actually supposed to be part of the image. Because if you look at the image close up, it's not that crisp and sharp. So if I actually put it at the thing where I think it'd look better, and well, there you go. That is actually way too blurry, so we'll yeah, so we'll just have to pop it bang in the center there, and we'll just try and center it the best we possibly can. And I think that looks way better in my opinion. So what do you think? Do you think that is an improvement? Now that is a watch I could definitely get on board with. Of course, it looks way better without the date window. But for those people that like date windows, there's what it would look like in the optimal position, because it's not throwing off, you know, any sort of symmetry issues, which is something I have a big issue with. So yeah, so now what we're going to do is move on to the second watch. We're just going to you know, create a group and group all that together, and that way we can just, you know, turn it off all in one. So yeah, that's the first watch. Now we're going to move on to the second one. Right guys, so now we have the second one. So this is the watch, and it's a really beautiful watch, but it does have a few issues. So we're going to make a duplicate copy, and we're going to fix those issues. And there is actually a little bit more I think needs adjusting on this one. First thing, of course, we've got to get rid of that date window, because it's just terrible. But what I actually want to do is see what it looks like with a date window at the 6 o'clock. So that means we're going to have to remove the indice. But don't worry, I'm going to sort of see if I can, you know, do a better job at integrating it than just wanging that monstrosity in. So what we need to do, actually, instead of we actually need to make a duplicate copy, and then we need to grab the date window, and we're just going to make a really sloppy and quick selection. Now, if I were going to do this proper, I'd use, you know, the pen tool and do it really nice and neat, but I'm just being lazy. So this is that. So now, if I Control-Shift-I, which should select everything else, that means I should be, in theory, able to erase this this watch. But is it going to work? I do not know, guys, because my software, what I use at the minute, is being a monumental nightmare, and it's not doing anything that I want it to. So let's just see now. Now the watch is still there, so if I get rid of that, there should just be a date window, but there isn't. So I am having major issues, 'cause even the quick and, well, even the dirty not proper way doesn't even work. So yeah, I really don't know what is going on. So if I just get rid of that, it gets rid of both of them. It's like, I don't understand what the big issue is with this software at the minute. So if I duplicate that, get rid of that, right, that's created a new image now. So if I get rid of, yeah, that one, so if I rub that out, there we go, now it's working. Oh, see what I mean, guys? This is what I'm having to deal with this software. It's yeah, it's not good. So what I'm gonna have to do is just basically really crudely thing it. By the way, this is not the proper way. For some reason, the proper ways for me just aren't working. So all that we want really is just you know, the date window, and of course we're gonna you know, make it look way nicer. Now I could have just technically created one from scratch, which would probably been a lot easier than doing what I'm doing now. Anyway, that'll do for now. So now if we put the watch back up, it don't look any different. But if we move this, we should, you know, be able to, there we go. So now we have a date window. But what we're going to do is we're going to rotate it, obviously, because we want it to be sort of there. Now that is not straight at all, so we're going to straighten it up. We've got the indice here, so that should give us a good reference for it being straight, and that's actually not too bad. So now what we're going to do is we're going to erase all the excess, because, you know, we don't obviously need it. So we're going to get rid of that, and we're going to get rid of that border at the edge, and we're going to get rid of that, we're going to get rid of that, and basically we just want the black disc, essentially. Right, so now we've got that. You can see it's a little bit too big to fit in the indices, so we're going to address that as well. Well, we're going to have to do it dirty as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm basically going to fast forward all this part, because you know, it's going to take too long doing it how I'm having to do it. So yeah, just bear with me, and I'll show you the end result of the date window in a moment. Right guys, so we've done with that, and that just looks absolutely abysmal. That is terrible, so we're not going to be keeping that at all. We'll just leave it dateless, because yeah, there's the without the date, there is it with the date, and it just, yeah, even with a border, it just doesn't thingy. I think maybe it might be because it's the black date disc. So I have an idea. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to do something. I'm going to take the, I think it's yellow, yeah, it's yellow, and we're going to change the yellow to white. And then what we're going to do is we're going to basically forego that. Now I'm just going to move on to the other little issues I'm having with this watch, and that is these sort of icy blue accents. I'm not going to lie, I'm not a fan. So what I'm going to do really is now I'm going to make a selection, and I'm basically just going to adjust the colour. In fact, would it be, no, it probably would not. In fact, I'll just need to grab the entire bezel. That'll just be so much easier than messing about, trying to grab them all individually. Because the bezel's black, this shouldn't affect the black on it at all. So yeah, so we're just gonna go around the bezel, and it doesn't need to be you know, super neat or anything, because we're only changing one little aspect of it. Just make sure that it, you know, grabs all the numbers and everything. Again, you know, it doesn't need to be super neat. And I think we might also even do the rehaut as well, because I just think the icy blue just doesn't work. So now what we need to do is we've grabbed that, we need to subtract it and bring it back to just the rehaut, because we don't want to impact the colour of the dial at all, because the dial is a really nice colour. The rehaut though, not so much. I just don't think the icy blue, I mean, I know it's a sort of that style watch, but for me it just doesn't work. I think they just I don't know, it just doesn't look, I think it's just the shade of blue that they've used. It just doesn't quite look right, in my opinion. But again, you know guys, this is just all personal preference. You might hate what I'm about to do, but then again, you might think it looks better. You know, it's all you know, personal preference really. So now we've done a really rough selection. So now we should have got, yeah, the bezel thing. So now if I go back to HSL, which is right here, and if I look at the colours, you can see we take the blue out of it and it's thing, and then we're just going to actually desaturate it all, and we're going to brighten it up. Oh no, that's thing, yeah. So there we go. We've got black and white now, and I know the lug looks thing, yeah, but that's fine. That's an easy fix. We can sort that out. So basically now I just get the on this layer. Yeah, I know guys, this is not the proper way to do it. If I were doing this in, you know, like a professional capacity and not just for fun, I'd do it way different, but there you go. So we've got rid of the icy blue. There's the before, there is the after. So now we've got a bit more contrast, because the chaptering rehaut, whatever you want to call it, is black. So now it just sort of stands out a little bit more, and it doesn't all just blend in. And I think that is a much better looking watch, in my opinion. I wish I'd have been able to, you know, incorporate the date window a little bit better, but obviously that's just way above my skill level at this point in time. But then again, I'm quite new to all this, so you know, that's one thing I might be able to revisit further down the line. But there you have it guys. So that is that one, and then what we'll do is we'll hide the original and we'll bring back the tuner, just to show why. Oh, that's just been an absolute this software, guys, it's doing my nut in a minute. So there you go. There are the two watches that we've fixed, and again, it's all just really been cleaning them up. There's nothing wrong with it per se. It's just a few little design choices that I think Seiko, you know, perhaps could have done a little bit better, in my opinion. And I think, especially the that just looks a lot cleaner, in my opinion. We've got more contrast now. That dial pops a lot more than it did before, because you're not sort of being distracted by you know, it blending into the chaptering. And if you look at it now, the black frames that dial and makes it pop. Here, I think they've got the colour scheme bang on, apart from that little accent that we've changed, and of course that stupid date window. But there you go, guys. Two Seikos made a little bit nicer, in my opinion. Let me know if you have the same thoughts.